Hello and welcome back to One Praying Mama. I decided today to record this audio style. I don't know if this would be considered more of a podcast. I really don't know anything about podcasting. I know there's a little difference, I think, but just setting up for a video, putting on makeup, that kind of thing just has not been something I've had time for lately. And I just had some thoughts and some hopefully encouragement that I wanted to share with you guys today. Well, we spent the month of March and some of April sick. Everyone in our family ended up with the flu, followed by a stomach bug that went through every single person in our family. So it was kind of rough. After the flu, one of the kids ended up on antibiotics. It was actually our littlest one, her first antibiotics ever. And so it was a rough time. And then it was still followed by a couple of colds. So it has been a little hectic. We have had to put school on the back burner for quite a while. We probably did maybe a week's worth of school over a month of time. So it was not the most productive time, but that is one of the great things about homeschooling is that we can do that. We can work around that. We can make that up, do whatever we need to do. And our kids aren't stressed about it. They're not stressed trying to catch up when they go back to school like they would be in public school. We can just pick up where we left off. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, was just doing the next thing. Sometimes I think in homeschooling, when we look at the big picture, it's a good thing to do at times to kind of step back, take a look at the big picture, because it gives us perspective. But also sometimes it can overwhelm us. So sometimes it's just the best thing to do is just do the next thing. And that's something that I've been thinking a lot lately. I feel like God's just been showing me that that's what I need to do in this season. That's what my focus needs to be. And I think for homeschool moms, that can be something that gives us a lot of peace and relief from the stress. I know for me that when I start to think about next year's homeschool curriculum choices, what our school year is going to look like and what our schedule is going to look like, I often think about it as I have to figure out what is the ultimate schedule, what curriculum are we going to use not only next year, but, every year after that. I have to find the best. I have to find what's going to be the ultimate solution for our family. And that is something that gets very overwhelming very quickly. My oldest will be going into 9th grade next year, so she will be doing high school. And she's talking about possibly going to our local vocational school for 11th and 12th grade, which I think is great. If there's something there that she's interested in, that she could go ahead and get that under her belt. But at the same time, that means that instead of just doing whatever we feel like, I feel like we have a little bit more accountability to kind of make sure that her credits that she's getting over the next 2 years are going to be setting her up so that she can transition into that vocational school with the credits that she needs to graduate from a public school in our state. We're in Ohio. So she has to have, so many credits in certain things, which I'm sure it's like that in every state. But I want to make sure that she's getting set up to where she has already on her transcript the things that she's going to need the next 2 years to set her up for that. So I go into that and, immediately I'm thinking I need to figure out what classes she'd be offered and what classes she'd be able to take in 11th and 12th grade. And I have to realize, that's not set in stone. That's not, for sure. She hasn't made any decision. We haven't made any decision about that yet. It's just something that we're talking about. And yes, I'm going to make sure she's getting credits that she needs, make sure she's getting the education that she needs. But I need to also, at those times when I am starting to get anxious about it or just starting to get overwhelmed, that's when I have to just breathe, take a breath, and remember, I just need to do the next thing. I need to give this over to God and pray about it and just ask Him and trust Him to lead me in the next right thing for my kids. So I'm going to treat it like any other homeschool year. I'm going to do the next thing. And that starts with this year. We got pretty behind and we're trying to catch up so that we end at kind of the time that we were planning on ending. And the kids are doubling up on some things some days, and it's going to work out just fine. If we do a little less than I had originally planned this year, that's going to be okay. I'm okay with that. I don't want to go too much longer into the summer because I feel like we've had a pretty thorough year up to this point, and we're going to keep going. We're going to keep doing the next thing. And at the same time, I know, there might be a couple of subjects that we do carry over for a few weeks into the summer, and that's okay too. I feel like if you zoom in from the big picture, you can see what's the next thing that I need to do. I think that as homeschool moms, we can do this with a particular curriculum too, maybe a particular subject that we have a kid that's struggling in that subject, or if we have a kid who's just really not liking that curriculum. Sometimes it can be very easy to think, oh, let's overhaul our homeschool. Let's make a big change. Let's pick a different curriculum, something that they're going to like more. And something that I've learned with my kids is they're probably going to complain a little bit about doing school no matter what. They're on this kick right now where they want to be unschoolers. They think that they're going to be so motivated to learn about whatever it is they want to learn. But I've told them, we're not unschoolers. We do have some unschooling tendencies. I try to be child-led to an extent, but also at the same time, I need the structure and they need the structure of a school year and a school day. And they do have a lot of free time in their day to pursue their interests. But, back to when a child feels that they're not enjoying school, that's probably, for my kids anyway, that's just a part of it. I don't think that I'm ever going to solve that problem. I don't think that we're going to sit around and enjoy every moment of the school day. They're going to have things that they'd rather be doing, and that's normal. I'm okay with that. But when I see that struggle, or, for instance, if a child is struggling in a particular subject, I'm learning that instead of just changing curriculums or jumping to the next thing, that sometimes the biggest thing I need to do is just do the next thing. We just continue with that curriculum, maybe tweak it a little, because there is no perfect curriculum. There's no perfect schedule. There's nothing that's going to be, everything in our homeschool. We're going to constantly be changing each year, but we don't have to change all the time. And sometimes it's just doing the next thing, doing the next right thing, doing the next lesson. Maybe, for instance, I have a kiddo that is struggling with some math facts, that it's just not coming quickly when we're doing a lesson. Those facts are not coming quickly, and it's making regular math equations take a lot longer because there's, some counting, that kind of thing. And we just have to firm up those math facts. I was tempted this week to be like, oh, we need to find a better math curriculum. We need to find something that's more hands-on, that's going to help her with these facts that she needs to memorize. But then I thought, no, you know what? Let's firm up these math facts. Let's focus a little bit on that, but let's just continue doing the next lesson. We don't need a complete overhaul. We need to just be diligent. We've missed almost a month of school, and we're just getting back into it over the last couple of weeks, and things are going to be a little rusty, and that's normal, and that's to be expected. So life circumstances are more likely the cause of that than a problem with the curriculum. And overall, looking at the big picture of this curriculum, I think it is something that is going to grow with her really well. She's going to be able to move on to the next level as she needs to. We're just going to continue through the summer practicing, firming up some of those things, practicing with fun games and manipulatives and things like that, just to keep those skills brushed up And I don't think we need a complete overhaul. We just need to move forward and do the next thing. And while it might seem like we're being proactive when we try to have a big overhaul, when we try to do something, sometimes it's like the work of it, the work of changing course. It makes us feel that we are doing more, but really it's just the day-to-day baby steps of working toward that goal. And really, I feel that this applies to all of parenting, all of our walk with God. It really does. Sanctification happens little by little, one thing at a time, and you fall down and you get back up and you keep going. And I really feel that that can apply in every area of our life. After being sick for all those weeks, I realize I really need to do better at feeding my family healthy food. This last 19 months since our youngest has been born have been pretty hard. As far as I'm not getting much sleep. She has not been a great sleeper. She still has a lot of issues sleeping. So it's just been a little bit less of a consistent schedule than I'm used to. It's made cooking and meal planning and things like that a little bit more difficult than it used to be for me. So, we're not the worst eaters, but, just more processed foods have come in. And it makes me, when we get sick like that, it makes me want to completely overhaul our diets. It makes me want to change big things. And yes, I am making some small changes. I am trying to get back to more foods from scratch, less processed food. But you know what? I cannot do everything. You might scroll through Instagram and you see these people who are baking everything from scratch and making everything homemade from scratch with clean ingredients. And yes, that's wonderful. That's something that I want to work toward being better about that, but I can't just overhaul everything in our lives all the time because, I am a homeschooling mom. I have 3 kids that I'm homeschooling and a toddler, and I have a part-time work from home job, and I have, other commitments. The kids have other commitments. We just have other things going on. My husband has a side job, and you can't just change everything all at one time and expect that to be the answer. We just continue to do a little bit each day, try to be better about taking vitamins, try to be better about drinking water, try to be a little bit better about getting some movement in, try to be a little bit better, maybe one less processed meal and one more from scratch meal. I've been baking some more of our bread products instead of buying all of them. And, I just have peace, and I have to keep giving it over to God, but have peace that I can do the next thing, just do the next right thing, and that will be enough because He fills in the gaps. He will supply all of our needs, and I can trust Him to lead us and guide us and to give us wisdom and to help us eventually get to the place where He wants us to be in every area of our lives. So if this resonates with you today, just remember, you might be coming to the end of your homeschool year and feeling like you have to overhaul everything. For me, I know looking forward to next year and seeing the things that I'd like to do makes you kind of want to start changing things up now. And I don't think that's, we added a couple things in that I felt like the kids needed to review. Like I said, math facts, a little bit of a remedial spelling thing for one of my kids who's struggling a little bit in spelling and needs just a little bit extra help. But, those are just little extras that we try to get to. We're not completely overhauling our whole homeschool. And yes, that can be very tempting when you see all the shiny new curriculum, you're watching reviews, you're reading about the curriculum online. But really, just completing what we've started, there's such a feeling of accomplishment when you complete something. Or even if you don't finish it completely, just the feeling of satisfaction of, we finished it to the point where we call it complete. For instance, for us in one of our language arts programs, we have 36 weeks, but our goal is I think week 30 or 32 because the last few weeks are all review. So that is complete for us. And you know what? We got behind, but we're just going to do the next thing. So if you feel like you're behind, or you feel like it's not working, or whatever it is, in whatever area of your life, I encourage you today that you're not alone, for one. We all feel behind at times, or like me, I feel behind a lot of the time. But just do the next thing, do the next lesson, say the next kind, loving thing to your family, cook the next meal, do the best that you can, and let God be everything to your family. Let Him fill in where you fall short. And I hope you guys have a great day. I hope this encouraged you. Leave a comment, let me know. And, what is the next thing for you to do?